Now we'll start with the median nerve. So if you see the median nerve, it's like middle in between the radial artery and ulnar artery, and also of course ulnar nerve and the deep branch of radial nerve, right? So radial nerve and ulnar nerve in between, you can see this is the median nerve. So median nerve is the main nerve of front of the forearm. It supplies the muscles of thenar eminence. So what is thenar eminence? This one, this is called thenar, this is hypothenar, right? So they supply the muscles of thenar eminence. Okay. So the median nerve mainly controls the coarse movements of the hand, as it supplies most of the long muscles of front of arm. As it's supplying the long muscles of front of arm, it controls the coarse movements of the hand. Okay. So it is therefore called the laborer's nerve. So very important, median nerve. Another name is laborer's nerve because it supplies most of the long muscles of the arm. So it is controlling most of the coarse movements of the hand. Okay. And next thing is its course. So where it starts, what? Let us understand now. So median nerve is lying medial to the brachial artery. So if you see here in this diagram, this is the brachial artery, right? This is the brachial artery. This is ulnar nerve, means this is medial side, and this is the lateral side. So what they are saying, the medial nerve is medial to brachial artery. So this is the median nerve, it's medial to the brachial artery, right? So brachial artery is somewhat lateral, right? So median nerve is medial to brachial artery, and behind the bicipital aponeurosis, and in front the brachialis. So behind they have bicipital aponeurosis, you can see this is the bicipital aponeurosis, and in front anteriorly they'll have the brachialis muscle. Okay. So now we will see the median nerve. Actually it enters the forearm by passing between two heads of pronator teres, and here it crosses the ulnar artery, from which it is separated by deep head of pronator teres. So what they are saying, first the median nerve enters forearm, pass between two pronator teres heads and crosses the ulnar artery, from which it is separated by deep head of pronator teres. And along with ulnar artery, so if you see the ulnar artery here, right, so you can see they are saying that along with the median nerve enters forearm by passing between two heads of pronator teres, crosses ulnar artery, from which it is separated by deep head of pronator teres, and along with ulnar artery the median nerve passes beneath fibrate arch of flexor digitorum superficialis, okay, and runs deep to the, you can see here the median nerve, this one here, okay, and runs deep on the muscle on the surface of flexor digitorum profundus. So you can see the deep and superficial head of pronator teres, in between them how it is passing, right? And next it is accompanied by medial artery. If you see, it is accompanied by medial artery, a branch of anterior introitious artery. 5 centimeters above flexor retinaculum, it becomes superficial, lie between tendons of flexor carpi radialis laterally and flexor digitorum superficialis medially. So here if you see the branches to flexor carpi radialis and tendon of biceps brachii here. You can see here the palmar cutaneous branch for muscles of thenar muscle, and these are the digital nerves. Okay. So remember that flexor carpi radialis is lateral, flexor digitorum superficialis medial, and it is overlapped by tendon of palmaris longus. Okay, the median nerve enters the palm by passing deep to flexor retinaculum through the carpal tunnel. So it passes deep to it. Now let us see what are the branches of the median nerve. So it has muscular branches which are guided to cubital fossa. Mainly they give to flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, and also to the flexor digitorum superficialis. If you see here, the branches to flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, flexor digitorum superficial, these three branches in the cubital fossa. Next it has an anterior introitious branch. You can see the anterior introitious branch is given off in upper part of forearm, supplies flexor pollicis longus, which will supply the thumb, right? It supplies lateral half of flexor digitorum profundus, giving rise to tendons of index and middle fingers and pronator quadratus. The nerve also supplies distal radioulnar and wrist joint. So all these are supplied by this anterior interosseous nerve, which is in turn a branch of median nerve. Next, coming to the palmar cutaneous branch, you can see here, this is a short distance, actually it's in a short distance above flexor retinaculum, lies superficial to the flexor retinaculum, supplies skin over the thenar eminence and the central part of palm. Next, of course, articular branches are given to the elbow joint and also to the proximal radial joint here. And vascular branches are supplying the radial and ulnar arteries on the sides, and also the communicating branch is given to the ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerve will be giving a, you can see, to the ulnar nerve they give the communicating branch by means of median nerve. So this is about median nerve. Very simple. It is its branches, how it's passing, what and what. So next we'll discuss about the ulnar nerve. Actually, ulnar nerve is also called as musician's nerve. We'll see that diagram, and you can see here. This one is the ulnar nerve, which you can see on the medial side, right? So it's actually called as musician's nerve because it controls fine movements of your fingers. So like this, like music. So it's called as musician nerve, and it details course, ulnar nerve is palpable as it lies behind the medial epicondyle, right, of the humerus, and it is not a content of cubital fossa, that is important. Enters the forearm by passing between two heads of flexor carpi ulnaris, that is cubital tunnel, to lie along the lateral border of flexor carpi, flexor carpi ulnaris in the forearm. The last phase it courses superficial to flexor retinaculum, and it's covered ligament, and it's covered by superficial slip or volar carpal ligament to enter the region of calm. Very important, it is covered by volar carpal ligament whenever it is entering the arm. So what are the relations of the ulnar nerve? Right? So at the elbow, the ulnar nerve lies behind medial epicondyle of humerus, enters the forearm by passing between two heads of flexor carpi ulnaris. In the forearm, the ulnar nerve runs, you can see here, runs between the flexor digitorum profundus, medially, it will be medially, and flexor digitorum superficialis laterally. Enters the palm by passing superficial to flexor retinaculum, lateral to the pisiform bone. Okay. At the wrist, the ulnar neurovascular bundle lies between flexor carpi ulnaris and flexor digitorum superficialis. The bundle enters the palm by passing the superficial. It mainly pass superficial to the flexor retinaculum, means upon the flexor retinaculum, that to lateral to the pisiform bone. Okay, because it's on medial side, here will be the pisiform bone at the rate of our wrist joint. And what are the branches of ulnar nerve? It gives a muscular branch to flexor carpi ulnaris and medial half of flexor digitorum profundus. And palmar and dorsal cutaneous branches are given. You can see here the branches gives the palmar and dorsal cutaneous branches. The palmar cutaneous nerve arises in middle of forearm, supplies skin over the hypothenar eminence. So palmar for hypothenar. The dorsal arises 7.5 centimeters above wrist, wind backward, supply proximal part of ulnar 2.5 fingers, adjoining area of dorsum of hand. Articular branches of course to the elbow joint. So this is all about our median nerve, ulnar nerve. Now it's time to discuss about our radial nerve. So if you see this radial nerve, it's dividing into two terminal branches, especially in the cubital fossa at the level of lateral epicondyle. Okay, the branches are deep terminal branch, that is nothing but the posterior interosseous, soon enters back of forearm, passing through supinator muscle. Okay, the superficial terminal branch is a main continuation of nerve, run down in front of forearm. So anterior will be front of forearm. This is deep branch on the posterior side. Okay. So the superficial terminal branch of radial nerve is closely related to radial artery, only in middle 1/3 of forearm. The upper 1/3 is widely separated from artery, and in lower 1/3 it passes backward under tendon of brachioradialis The superficial terminal branch is purely cutaneous, distributed to lateral half of dorsum of hand and proximal parts of the dorsal surface of thumb, index finger, lateral half of middle finger. Okay, so injury to this branch result in small area of sensory loss over root of thumb. So actually we have not got a particular diagram for this, so you need to just understand. So by this we completed the nerves of front of forearm. Next we'll start with the palmar aspect of wrist and hand.